On Wednesday, December 7, 2022, the full moon is going to be passing in front of the planet Mars in an event that we call an occultation. And I highly recommend trying to view or image this event because it is a pretty rare event and it's going to be visible from all across North America as well as large parts of Western Europe. So as you can see in this map, if you're anywhere along this blue region, you will be able to see or image it. So I decided to make a series of tutorials for anyone who wants to image it using a mirrorless camera or a DSLR and just a lens. So but whatever kind of equipment you have available, I'm going to make a tutorial for it. So this particular tutorial is for anyone who wants to use just a regular digital camera and a camera lens. Now, the first thing that you want to do is to gather all of your equipment, charge all of your batteries, and get all that out of the way. And then you want to make a plan of how you're going to do the imaging. So first thing you want to do is figure out your local time, see when the event is going to be visible from your area. And what I would do for that is I personally downloaded a piece of equipment, software called Stellarium. There we go. That's how you spell it. So Stellarium. And it's a completely free piece of software. I've actually been using this for over a decade now. And then at the top right here, you just download it for your version of Windows or Mac or Linux. And for me, it was Windows 64-bit, Windows 10. So you click on that and I downloaded it to my computer. And when you open it up for the first time, this is the screen that you will see. And this software is a planetarium software. It shows you the night sky, shows you all the different events going on, all the different stars and nebulae. So it's useful for a lot of other things as well, besides just trying to image this occultation. So the first thing you want to do is at the bottom left. If you move your mouse to the bottom left, you'll see this bar pop up. And you click on the topmost one, which says location. So when you click on that, it pulls up this window where you can type in your location. So the closest city to you, for example, if you're in, let's say, Calgary, Alberta, just type in Calgary, Alberta over there. Or lower down here, you can also just enter your GPS coordinates. It's easy enough to just type in your city. So that will set your location in the software. And also at the bottom left, the next thing you want to do is you want to set your local time. So right over here, actually, that's the second tab. If you click on that, it lets you set your time. Now for me, I know that the occultation is going to happen roughly around 8 p.m. my local time, Wednesday, December 7, 2022. So I put that in here. So December 7, let's say 8 o'clock. And also you want to move your mouse down here and just hit this pause button. Or actually, if it's playing, then you want to hit the pause button. Let me actually just find Mars. There it is. So once you click on Mars to select it, you hit spacebar to center it, or the moon. And yeah, I'll just click on Mars, hit the spacebar to center it, and then I can zoom in with my mouse wheel. And then I can adjust the time here to see when Mars is going to make contact with the moon. So that'll allow me to plan for my local time. So as I move the minutes up, you can see Mars going behind the moon here. And then if this continues, about an hour later, you'll see Mars coming out of the other side. So that will allow me to plan exactly when to start imaging and when to stop. So that's the first thing you want to do. Want to plan. And once you've done that and you've got your camera batteries charged, some other things to consider is that having a tripod will help. So having a sturdy tripod, something like this one over here. So that's useful, but not necessary. If you don't have a tripod, that's okay. The moon is so bright that you can use a fast shutter speed and just hand hold your camera. One other thing that's useful if you're planning to be out there for a while and you do live in humid or cold conditions and you have to worry about dew, is you can use a dew heater strap such as this one. I picked up this one off Amazon for something like 20 bucks. And you just take your camera and you wrap this around your camera lens. So if you don't have one already, it might be a bit late to buy one unless you have a camera store near you that sells them. But you basically wrap this around your lens to prevent dew. And then the other side of it, you plug this. I'll take that off. So you plug that into this is a battery pack, or it also doubles as a hand warmer actually, but has a USB port on it. So you can plug the dew heater into this and then wrap the other side around a camera lens, and that'll keep your lens from fogging up if it's cold. Where I live, your camera lens can end up fogging up in about 15-20 minutes just because it's so cold outside. So that's one thing I recommend, but again, not really necessary. So once you've got the right equipment, and you've got a plan for what time you're going to be out there when you're going to start imaging, then what you need to look at is what exposures to use. So in terms of exposure time, what I recommend is using a fairly low ISO. So I would recommend using, if you're using a mirrorless camera like this Fuji, or you're using, a DSLR camera like this Canon 6D, as long as you're using a regular lens, I suggest zooming in as much as you can with your lens, and then setting the ISO to about ISO 400. That's a good starting point. Then set the shutter to a fast shutter speed such as 1/500th of a second. That will prevent any sort of camera shake. And then set your aperture to f8 to start, and then you can lower it down to f10 if needed, but that's a good starting point. So ISO 400, shutter speed of about 1/500th of a second, and an aperture of f8 to f10. Now, once you've got those set, make sure that your white balance is set manually to daylight white balance. And to be able to adjust all of these settings, you will have to go into your camera settings and set your camera to manual, and then set all of these settings in there. So once that's done, then you are ready to image. And I would recommend setting these settings and then autofocusing on the moon or on Mars if your camera lens supports autofocus, and then just taking a couple of test shots and looking at them on the back of your camera LCD to make sure that the settings are doing a good job. Otherwise, make some changes, decrease the shutter speed, increase the shutter speed, whatever you need to get the moon properly exposed. You don't want the moon to be overexposed. So once you've got all that done, you should be ready to go. So I look forward to seeing what pictures you get of this event. Now, my next video is going to be about how to take an image like this, but with a telescope combined with your DSLR or mirrorless camera instead of just a camera lens. And then I'll make one more video for anyone who's going to be imaging this event using an astro camera, such as a ZWO or QHY camera combined with a telescope. So check those videos out as well. And if you found this helpful, consider subscribing to my channel, and also check me out on Instagram at Our Astro Life. Thank you and good luck.